Hey everybody, how's it going? Don't know why I feel so compelled to talk about this, but I really want to save a lot of people a bunch of money today. How? I want to tell you, if I had to redo my office setup and my audio setup, this is what I would do differently. You are probably tempted to figure out what is the best audio interface, what is the best microphone, how can I need the best equipment to sound the best. Not true. Not true at all. I've spent the $500 on the Shure SM7B. I've spent the money on an outboard mixer, on a cloud lifter, on tons of equipment. All it did was let my audience know how crap my room sounded. That's all it did. A $500, $1,000, $1,500 microphone isn't going to do anything for your audio quality if your room sucks. Let me put it to you another way. Michael Jackson's Thriller album was recorded on a Shure SM7B. I'm not Michael Jackson. I don't have the vocal quality of Michael Jackson. And no offense, you probably don't either, right? Of course not. We just want to get some content made and posted to the internet for everybody to enjoy. Plus, when folks are listening to your content, guess what? They're probably going to be listening on one of these, a phone. And they're not known for having the best audio quality. Your audience isn't going to know the difference between a $100 mic and a $500 mic. And in fact, some cases, they won't know the difference between a $100 mic and a $20 mic. In fact, let me show you something. This rat's nest, this is just a little clip-on microphone. Cost me $20. In this treated room, it sounds fine. It sounds great. And that's the key. If I had to do this whole setup again, the first thing I would do, instead of buying the expensive microphone, the audio interface, everything else, I would build the things that are behind me. What are those? They're acoustic panels. What do? They deaden the sound of the room. There's no echo. So if I clap my hands, it's pretty dead. That's what you want. You want to cut down on the amount of echoes that are going around in the room and making their way into the microphone. This microphone I'm using, it's called a short shotgun mic. I like it because in echoey rooms, it has some kind of canceling abilities. It can basically cancel out some of the side address. So if I go over to the side, suddenly I'm less easy to understand. And if I go to the back, you can't hear a thing. But if I come back to the front, hear how that sounds? It sounds way better. So I like it because it's got a nice focused direction. This microphone's only I think $100, $150 retail, depending on the day. Audio-Technica AT875R. And I like the way it sounds on my voice. Another thing is that the microphone is going to be very personal. It's about $150. Big step up from, say, the $20 mic that I just pulled out of the drawer. But for me, worth it. And I've made, many times what this microphone cost in voiceover work. So first thing I would do, sound panels. Treat the room. Second thing, once your room is treated, then you can start to figure out where you want to upgrade your setup. And I would upgrade very strategically. There are a ton of microphones in the $100 to $200 range that sound fantastic. Pretty much anything in that range you can throw at your voice and you'll sound fine. The third thing I did, so first thing, room. Second thing, good enough microphone. Second thing, part two, would be a microphone stand. I like having a boom stand so that I can move the mic around. But the third thing, this was the secret for me. This is what gives me the broadcast voice, is I have an audio processor. It is a DBX286S. In fact, let me switch it off for a second so you can hear what I sound like with it off. One sec. So whoa, that's really hot. So I bypassed the processor. This is what my unprocessed voice sounds like. Probably not bad, right? Not bad. Let me switch it back on. With the processor back on, now I've got that radio voice back. And for me, for the voiceover work that I do, generally there's a very quick turnaround time. Sometimes, most of the time actually for me is live. I'm either doing live QA for an event or I have to introduce a speaker. Doesn't matter what it is. I need to sound good live. I don't have a chance to do any post-production. And quite honestly, I can't be bothered. I just want to dial in some settings and be done with it. This DBX286S changed my life. It makes me sound really good. The best post-processing you can do is none at all. If you don't have to have a post-process step where you have to tweak your voice to sound good, that's the best. That'll save you so much content production time. I used to produce a daily news show called In the News Today. It was a comedy show, a kind of comedy satire, poking fun at the government kind of thing. And that was a minute long every single day. So you think about it. I had to write the script, shoot the video, edit it, upload it. And the show was like a minute or two long each day. That forced me to get economical with my process. And what I found was the biggest time saving was if I didn't have to do editing. So if I could do one take, if I didn't have to do any post-processing, so I got my audio right from the start, that's what you want. Get your audio right from the gate to reduce the amount of editing you need to do. If you don't need to do any post-processing on your content, you just need to get it onto the internet, that's the best thing ever. So those are my tips. Number one, treat the room. Built these sound panels for, I think, 300 Canadian. I built 8 of them. A good sound panel can easily cost $200. These are just plywood frames with wall insulation inside. Stuff like moving blankets and egg crates, those don't really work. I wouldn't recommend them. You want the insulated panels. You want something that will deaden the sound. And just a couple of them will make a difference. But the 8 that I've got around the room really tighten up the sound. Second would be the good enough microphone. Again, $100 to $200. You're really well served in that market. There's a ton of options. Go use. There's nothing wrong with a used microphone as long as you know the condition. Step 3, figure out how much post-processing you can do live. For example, I'm using that DBX286S. If I add up all the components in the setup, the DBX was $250. I think the microphone was $150, so we're up to what, $400? Boom arm for $30. Panels for another $250. Under $1,000, you can have a really good setup. And if you want to get to that point and you're just doing some voiceover work, then you can also, your sound deadening, like putting a really thick blanket behind you can also work. Basically, you just want to cut down on as much echo that's going into your microphone as you possibly can. Cut down on the echo going into your microphone as much as you can. I guess the last part is if you do have the room echo and you're worried about that tarnishing the quality of your recordings, honestly, your first bit of content's going to suck anyway. Everybody's does. So don't worry about it too much. Just upgrade over time. Blankets behind you, just get some sound deadening in your room, build the panels. Honestly, if you have to spend money on one item, so say you've got a budget of like $400, take most of that and treat your room. That'll make the biggest difference. It'll make the biggest difference. Anyway, that's everything. Hope you found that useful. If you did, like, retweet, do the thing, and I'll talk to you later.